So Sam Bradford doesn't want to play here, huh? He doesn't want to play for a team that gave him a second chance when the team that brought him into the league, the St. Louis Rams, now the LA Rams, used the number one pick in the draft. The number one pick to bring him in. And they said, nah, Sam, you know what? We'd rather take a chance with that Nick Foles guy that had one good year behind some gimmick offense that Chip Kelly brought into Philadelphia and got exposed by his second season. We'd rather have that guy play quarterback for us than you. All right, Mr. Number One pick, bye-bye. Sam Bradford doesn't want to keep playing for this team here in Philadelphia? Really? Really? You know what I say? Fucking good for him. Because this organization and Howie Roseman, management, ownership, did Sam Bradford wrong. They did him wrong. I wish him nothing but the best out of here. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him for a second for telling his agent to demand a trade. Go to the Jets, go to the Broncos, because you know what? You frankly don't deserve to play for an ownership and management group led by Howie Roseman. You don't deserve to play for guys like that. They don't at least respect what you did for this team last year. Did the Eagles go anywhere? No, they didn't. Did they have what was a really good season? No, they didn't. But as far as quarterback play, would I say that was one of the top problems on the roster last year? Hell no. Again, as I've said time and time again, the Eagles led the league in dropped passes. Sam Bradford cannot catch the passes that he throws. Name one premier wide receiver on this team. You got green as grass rookie and sophomore receivers trying to find their way in the league, looking like they have an ounce of promise, but then it's like, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys were selling car insurance within 2 years. You have offensive line issues out the ass. Sam Bradford was getting knocked around like crazy, rushed in the pocket like crazy, and still put up very good numbers. If you look at Sam Bradford's numbers and you say they're not good, then you just don't know football. Anyways, Sam Bradford wants to be traded, and the second that we traded up to the number 8 spot, I was like, good. We're going to get either one of the best offensive linemen in the draft, get a good chance of getting Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, like either one of those things, or even just the best receiver on the board, potentially, if one doesn't get taken before that. Any which things are going to help Sam Bradford out. And I was looking forward to it. I was like, oh man, I'm digging Howie Roseman. I hated the guy here before. I think he did a lot of things that fucked up this team, but I'm willing to give him a second chance because so far he's doing everything good. Then they made that trade for that to get up to number 2. And I'm like, they just did Bradford wrong. Bradford is obviously being planned to be traded. But now, Howie Roseman comes out and says, we were blindsided. We have Sam Bradford as our starting quarterback this season, and now he wants to be traded? How dare he betray us? How dare you betray Sam, motherfucker? Of course he wants to be traded. Why wouldn't you? He could have been a free agent and went anywhere this offseason. Instead, he said, I'd rather stay here in a system that I'm familiar with guys I'm familiar with, and that I know I can play here. And once we figure out a few things, hone up that offensive line, work on the backfield a little bit, get our receivers to catch balls, he could be something special here. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Joe Montana or anything like that. But did he not deserve to be the starter here? Like, did you absolutely have to go for a quarterback in the draft, Howie? Man, this is just a typical Philadelphia scenario where I see this bubbling up to be a complete disaster, to see Carson Wentz become a complete disaster, to see this draft and everything just fall flat on its face. And now the quarterback, which I was all for, like, okay, maybe they will keep Bradford here a season, and that's when I brought up that scenario. I said, well, what if Bradford balls out, becomes some sort of all-pro quarterback? Like, just what if? Like, what if that happens? Then what do you do with Wentz? Now, it seems like you're not even going to see that chance of that happening because Bradford absolutely wants out of here. And I don't know. I thought at first I was like, I don't know, maybe they got this okayed with Bradford. They talked it over. They said, look, we're going to make a move up to the number 2 pick, but look, we want you here as the starting quarterback. Apparently, they didn't float that notion by him at all. Not that they had to. But Howie Roseman, for him to come out and be like, we were blindsided by this news. We planned on him being this. Do you know football, motherfucker? Sam Bradford could have went anywhere he wanted to in the offseason. He signed a 2-year deal here, extension with the Eagles. I guarantee he could have got a 4-year deal probably for better money elsewhere. Instead, he stayed here for a 2-year deal. I was like, okay, that's a modest deal. If he proves his worth, then he gets signed on for something even longer. And the amount of times that he got knocked around and still got back up last season, I was like, okay, this kid can play. Got knocked out of 2 games with a concussion this year, but okay, that's fine. That happens. No real major severe injuries or anything like that. He proved his knees were healed up. Passed very well in the pocket, made some very good decision making, and made some dumb decision making. Again, not the next Joe Montana. Okay, I wasn't expecting that anyway. But for Howie Roseman to say he was blindsided by this? How can you be so fucking dumb? Because I'm sitting here saying, like, how can he not? How could he not? It's not even draft day, and I'm getting my fucking blood pressure up over this team. How can Sam Bradford not want to be traded? And how could the Eagles then not want to trade him? Because I'm like, okay, well, now this is all coming together now. You brought Chase Daniel in to be the starting quarterback while you let Wentz, get his legs used to the NFL and observe the game and whatever and sit on the sidelines with a clipboard for a season. So I'm like, okay, this is all the plan all along. But I was like, but then, like, why do you sign Bradford on for 2 years? Like, you should just scrap that idea, go after Chase Daniel, and then be like, okay, we're going to do what we got to do. Unless you want to, like, fake out the league into thinking that you're going to trade up for the number 2 spot, but that's dumb. But who knows? Again, Howie Roseman was tried here before. He failed here before. And now we're going back down that well again. And it's not saying I hate every single thing. Like, I like what Howie did to get up to the number 8 spot. I like that he got rid of Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell, 2 garbage players on big garbage contracts. Well, not Kiko Alonso, but Byron Maxwell's contract was a huge contract that was garbage. And I like that getting up to that number 8 pick. I like that a lot. And then you see this, trading 5 picks. 5 picks and creating a disgruntled quarterback that now, if you have no takers for him, what kind of fucking effort do you think you're going to get out of him? How hard do you think Bradford is really going to try to play for a team that didn't even try to earn his respect? Again, not that they had to earn his respect, but man, he could have bounced anywhere in this offseason, and he signed a deal here for a fan base that never really latched onto him fully, that always had their doubts in him. But he proved he can still be a starting quarterback in the league. Again, not the next Joe Montana. Not that I foresee Super Bowl rings no matter what offensive line or receivers you give him. But he deserved and earned the right to be a starter on this team. And for Howie Roseman and this management group here in the Eagles to feel blindsided about this, it just really shows that these guys just really don't understand how players tick. They just really don't, and they frankly never have. They've understood what the deal is between a good contract versus a bad contract, and Howie Roseman's always been good at figuring that out. But when it comes to getting in the actual, mental thinkings of the players, Howie Roseman has always fallen short. Always. And this is yet another case of it. Anyway, Bye-bye, Sam. I wish you nothing but the best because frankly, you don't deserve to play for an ownership and management group here that don't respect you, that don't respect what you did, that look at what you did last season and say, nah, that's not good enough to be a starter here on this team. Oh, but Howie's saying he wants him as a starter. Yeah, he wants him as a starter this season and no more. Like that's just disrespecting the guy. I tell you what, if Bradford goes to a team like Denver, you don't think they can win another Super Bowl? Like again, look at Bradford's stats last season and compare them to Peyton Manning's stats last season. Bradford's stats blow Peyton Manning's stats out of the water. Peyton Manning had 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. As bad as Bradford's receivers were, his stats were a lot better than 9 and 17. So be careful what you wish for, Howie, because you may get your number 2 quarterback, but you also may get a ring for Bradford, and that is not going to sit well with a lot of people like myself. Thanks, Howie. Great to have you back. That is all. Fuck the Cowboys and fuck Chip Kelly. Bye.